Hello, my Africa. Hello, brothers and sisters. The next confession, it is a traditional healer, all the way from Zimbabwe. And as you can see, I have posted his numbers over there. Those are his numbers, as I always do. And the confession goes like this. Makadi Bomzukuru. Hello, my nieces. Ndinonzi Sukuru Mboma. My name is Sukuru Mboma. Ndinogara ku Harare, and I live in Harare. And what I can say about myself is that I am just a simple traditional healer with extraordinary powers. When you need some help, I can help you. I do not shy away from anything. No, I do not shy away from anything. Why would I do that? There are certain rituals that people like to come and do at me. And these rituals, most of the people that I love helping out, it is mainly South Africans. And what these South Africans do when they come to me, they love doing what is known as Ukuthwala. Ukuthwala is a name that is given in Zulu language or Ndebele language because I am a Shona. Ukuthwala is mainly used for making yourself to become more wealthy, such as boosting your business or empowering yourself to have more tenders, and last but not least, money-making rituals. There are so many different types of money-making rituals because as my client came to me, we did this. We went to the woods, and as we arrived at the woods, I told him to dig a big grave so that I can bury him afterwards. As soon as he was done digging that big grave, he entered as we agreed, and after I personally buried him. And the reason why I buried him, it is because he had to die, or in other words, he had to act like he died in order for us to appease my gods back in the shrines. And I buried him for about 2 hours. And whilst I was still burying him, I saw another spirit entering inside of that grave. I was looking at it because I have spiritual eyes. And that spirit that entered in the grave was one of my gods back in their shrine. And it came and it entered inside of the grave. The reason being, it is because it has to possess the body of my client in order for my client to become more wealthy. So after having been buried that man for 2 hours, I undigged the hole again in order for him to come out. As soon as he came out of that grave, I told him there are stages that we have to go through in order for us to complete the ritual. And that stage was for him to look for a white goat. And as we agreed, the following day he went out and looked for a white goat. And as soon as he brought it to me, we took that same goat and went back to the forest where we were digging up that grave. And as soon as we arrived at that grave, he had to undress all of his clothes and enter back into that grave. And what I did was, I took a knife, then I slaughtered that goat alive. After slaughtering that goat alive, I had to take that goat and put its neck next to the grave in order for the blood in that goat to flow inside of that grave where the man was laying down in. And as the blood was flowing down inside of that grave while the man was inside, I told him to say some words like Ndiri kuda kuva mutsotsi, meaning that I want to be rich, I want to be rich, I want to be rich. And as he was chanting those words, I told him to drink a little bit of that goat meat that was flowing out of that neck of that goat. The reason being why he had to drink a little bit of that blood, it was for that spirit inside of his body that has possessed his body to drink also. Because these spirits, they love drinking blood. And as the blood was stopping to flow or drying out of that goat's neck, I had to throw it inside of that grave. And that man or that client of mine had to hold it for 2 hours. And in order for that blood that was on top of his body to dry out, as soon as that 2 hours had finished, he went out of the grave. And he had to walk by foot to the nearest river. And the nearest river was Mtetengwe River, which was around 100 kilometers from where we were. The reason being was for him to walk was that it was a suffering ritual. The more that he suffers or the more that he feels pain while walking that kilometers, the spirits had to see that he was serious, that he wanted to be rich. And as soon as that client of mine went and walked for 100 kilometers, when he arrived there, he found me waiting for him in the river. And I told him to enter the river. As soon as he entered the river, I told him to say other words of chanting like Ivai Namhanza yakanaka, ivai nemhanza yakanaka, meaning that give me luck, give me luck. And whilst that client of mine was still saying those words, the river started boiling in a way like something was moving inside of it. And I told my client to not run away, because as soon as he tries to run away, that snake inside of that river, or the spirit, or the serpent, it will pull him down and kill him. Whilst we were waiting for the river that was boiling to calm down, we saw a head of a horse coming out of the water, and it looked at us for about 5 seconds and it went back inside of the water. As soon as it went back inside of the water, I told my client that it is done, he can come out of the water now. And when he came out of the water, I gave him his clothes to wear. After he had finished wearing his clothes, we entered in my car and we drove back to the shrine. And as soon as we arrived in the shrine, I gave him a small bottle full of charms. The reason why I gave him the bottle full of charms was, as soon as he arrives at his house, he has to take that bottle and dig a hole and put it inside of that hole. And that hole has to be in the middle of his yard or his house, for the spirit inside of the bottle to stay there in his yard or his house. And the rules was, he had to look for a white goat and kill the goat and put the blood that is flowing out of the neck of the goat, so that the blood can flow on top of the spot where he had inserted the bottle. And he has to kill the goat every after 3 months, because if he doesn't do so, all of his relatives will die. And I guess he had listened to what I said, because after 7 months, my client came to me driving a Range Rover. And as I was still looking at his car, I saw 2 women inside of his car, and it looked like he had 2 wives. And that day, it looked like he just came to greet me and show me his brand new car. And people shouldn't have a misconception that when you just come to me, I'll help you with all the rituals and you just go out like that. No. You pay first, and that amount is $500. You pay first $500, then we will start to do the Ukuthwala rituals of becoming rich. Because what I can tell you, viewers, is that nothing comes for free. And that's the end of the confession. Indeed, nothing comes for free. Indeed, nothing comes for free. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to him for reaching out to me and telling me a beautiful, beautiful story. And there's a certain song, a Shona song, that is made by a Zimbabwean called Dr. Tawana. I do not know if I pronounce his name next, because I do not know how to speak Shona language. I'll put it at the end of my convo. But I do not want to say a lot. Thank you and take care.